Special good afternoon to all of you already logged onto the Civic Vibes Facebook page live. It's the very first Sunday, that is Sunday, the second day of January 2022. A pleasant good afternoon to some of you. It's already good evening, so a special good evening to all of you already logged to what is going to happen here this afternoon right here on the Civic Vibes platform. It's my pleasure to welcome you here. It's my pleasure to welcome as well my co-host, as usual, Paula Celestine, very formidable woman. And we also have an added co-host this afternoon in the name of none other than Mrs. Marceline Edwards. Folks, I can guarantee you it's going to be a fun afternoon. It's going to be an exciting afternoon. Let us just, sit back, relax as it were, and take in the vibes this afternoon. Before I move across, I want to just pay some tributes, as it were, to all the folks who have persons out there celebrating one thing or another. If it means you're just celebrating life, I want to say a special good afternoon to you. Those of you who are sort of on the lower side of life, and someone of yours may have passed. We heard this week of the passing of Dr. Kay Polydor. She lived at Camp Emsall. That is a lady that, I worked for, a very generous lady, I must say. And so now on behalf of Civic Vibes, Paula Celestine, Marceline Edwards, and myself, and to all of you who are already glued onto this live, we want to extend our sincere condolences to the family and friends of Dr. Kay Polydor on her passing. Ripe old age, she lived her life, she made a meaningful contribution to Dominica. And so to our friends and family at this time, we want to say we condole with you guys at this time. We also heard as well, I think sometimes early last week, the wife of deceased Mr. Luke Dangleben, that is Jane Dangleben. She called me, a very patriotic brother. He lived in the Stockholm area. She called, that is Jane Dangleben, a contributor as well to the program of Civic Vibes. And she told me, Lofty, unfortunately, my husband, Mr. Luke Dangleben, he did not make it. And so on behalf of us here at Civic Vibes and those of you listening and viewing, we too want to extend our sincere condolences to Jane Dangleben and her family at this time as well on the passing of her husband, a father, a brother, a cousin, just a family man. Mr. Luke Dangleben, may his spirit linger on with us here. I just want to again, take the opportunity to say it's a warm afternoon in Dominica. The sun is out, and without further ado, let me introduce here to you this Sunday afternoon. Like always, Paula Celestine, she's here. Paula, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Lofty. Good afternoon to viewers, to listeners, wherever you are, whichever part of the world. Good afternoon to Marceline Edwards. Nice to have you. And Lofty, as usual. I know that you have started on a wonderful note. I know we're going to have very successful year, 2022.
Yes.
And I look forward to a bigger and better time to come.
Yes, thank you very much, Paula. Thank you very much, Paula, for always, being that patriotic lady that you are. I want to salute you like I always do. I can tell you, I could not have asked for a better partner in the Civic Vibes thing. Basically trying to just reinculcate, as it were, all our civic values that we want to do in Dominica. Things that we are slowly but surely losing at this time if we don't put our heads together and ensure that these things keep us rooted. This afternoon, we have a quote-unquote celebrity in the house as well, making a debut here on Civic Vibes. You always hear her, but I know some of you haven't been seeing her. So this afternoon, it's my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Marceline Edwards right here on the platform of Civic Vibes. Mrs. Edwards, good afternoon to you in a very, very special way, my dear.
Thank you, Loftus Durand, and good afternoon and Happy New Year to you and to you, Lofty and Paula, as well as the listening audience of Civic Vibes connected to Facebook Live. I want to say a special good afternoon to everyone who has tuned in from all over the world, particularly our wonderful Caribbean peoples on the warm shores of Dominica, Antigua, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, Jamaica, and to the cold shores of London, Switzerland, Canada, and beautiful USA, Connecticut, Washington, DC, Georgia, Boston, Texas, Tennessee, and my home base, the New York, New Jersey tri-state area. This is a voice. This is a moment. This is the Civic Vibes. I am your co-host, Maslin Edwards. And I want to also say that this is a brand new day and a brand new year the Lord has made. And we will rejoice. We will be glad. We will be creative. We will be strong. We will be positive, and we will overcome in it. So welcome everyone, and please share the live. Happy New Year again. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maslin, for your opening remarks here, your opening salvo, as it were. Very, very interesting words to start your debut right here on Civic Vibes, Paula and myself, and all the viewers. They are watching and they enjoying every bit of it at this time. Paula, in normal days, normal times, you know, she normally used to go through a list. I don't know if you still have that list. I mean to say there are a number of persons still listening, still looking on that may be on that list. I don't know if Paula have that list, but while she try to get through that list, I'll be taking a close look that is at the page, and I will welcome and just touch base with all our viewers here this afternoon. Let me pass on to Paula at this time. Paula, with your extended greetings.
Yeah, Lofty. Well, as usual, I still have this list. And like you said, the list actually continued to get very, very long. But, you know, again, in the interest of time, Lofty, I'll just say good afternoon to my son. Yes, Colby. I know he should be somewhere enjoying himself this afternoon. Nice weather. My cousin in Guadeloupe, Avril, and the kids. My cousin in the New York area, Vida and Edith. My very good friend in Miami, Sharon Charles. My friend down at Salisbury and her husband, Eva. I'm not sure if they're gluing this afternoon because, Lofty, you know, not many persons really know, you know, how to go to the Facebook page and all of this. But as time goes by, we will give a little more information on that. So also, Gary, I saw Gary here. Gary is visiting from Alaska. So Gary actually is taking some of the sunshine. Michael in Canada, Jerry in St. Kitts, Mr. Louis down at Salisbury. Timmy also is visiting here from St. Croix. Bentley Parilaw in St. Thomas. Forbes Parilaw in England. Miriam in Barbados. Betty in Emsall. And Lofty, we have to get this right. Betty, Auntie Betsy?
It's Bessie.
Bessie at Bath Estate. So we have to get this right for 2022. My friend Phil Carbon down in the Cottage area, Hazeland in Belfast, Cheryl, Eldika, Sandra, and all the other friends listening. I want to say a pleasant Sunday afternoon to you. Not forgetting Lee and her husband down in Layu and Vera in Anguilla. See it, Lottie?
Alrighty, thank you very much, Paula. Paula is getting warmed up, people. You know, when Paula gets going, then it's a little difficult to hold her back. She's getting warmed up. Let me just look at the Facebook Live. We have a number of persons already glued onto the live. We have Patricia Zamo, that young lady, I believe, is all the way in St. Martin listening at this time and watching as well. Paula Zamo, good afternoon to you. Mali Ostri, I call her a usual suspect. That young lady, she's always there. Wherever Civic Vibes go, she's there. Mali Ostri, good afternoon to you. Fifth Sunshine, you are there as well. Good afternoon to you in a very, very special way. Monique Phillips Benjamin, you are there as well. Good afternoon to you. My dear friend Jan as well, you are following the vibes. Mr. Joel Joseph, good afternoon to you, brother. I will send you the avenue so you can share that live in a while. Mr. Joel Joseph. Janice Jaja, sorry. She is one of our other usual suspects. Janice Jaja, good afternoon to you. We also have Usila James looking on this afternoon. Usila James, good afternoon to you as well. Ronnie Roy Matthew, a brother from Marigot, good afternoon to you guys. And he said, Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year to you as well. Mr. Anthony Drago, he too is locked on to Civic Vibes. And he's saying, welcome to this Happy New Year to the Civic Vibes family. So Mr. Drago, good afternoon to you and the family as well. Dorothy Jermaine, all the way in the UK, listening and watching. Good afternoon to you as well. Ivor James, you are there as well. Good afternoon. Marva Prevo, Cecilia Bedminster, Mr. Dave Bertrand, that is another usual suspect. He is always locked on and listening. I just saw a message came in from Auntie Bessie. So she too, she is locked on. Auntie Bessie, good afternoon to you in a very special way. Stephanie John Baptist, I think that is my friend down in the Jimmy area. Good afternoon to you. Miss Ann John Baptist, good afternoon to you as well. Juanita Prince, you're there as well. Our friend as well, Matilda Popo. She's saying success and more success to you all. Thank you very much, Matilda Popo. And thank you for your support for the Civic Vibes program right here this afternoon. Jane Bernard, good afternoon to you as well. Augustine Sabroch, and the list goes on and on and on. So in a nutshell, Marceline, we have already a number of persons following what is happening here this afternoon. And Marceline, even before we start, you know one thing? I want to say thank you, Marceline, because there are persons among us who have hidden talents. And we never know. Marceline made an ad last night. And did you listen to the ad?
Yes.
Okay. Marceline, you have found your new job, as it were. So from now, I think we'll be giving you that task, that hard task of putting Civic Vibes audio together in terms of advertisements. All right, Marceline?
Well, thank you, Lofty. but you know, Lofty, when you're thrown lemons, you have no choice but to make lemonade. So that is part of the lemonade. And it's quite refreshing, I must say. So yes, thank you, Lofty, for acknowledging that.
Thank you very much. And as well, let me say to all the hard workers of Civic Vibes, there are some persons that you will never see on camera, you'll never hear their voices as well, but they are there with Civic Vibes doing the hard and arduous work in the background. So good afternoon to you folks. You know yourself as pleasant good afternoon to you. And thank you. Looking forward to a bright and prosperous 2022 where Civic Vibes and you is concerned.
Lofty, I wonder if Blue is listening this afternoon and Lucille. And if they are, happy Sunday afternoon to Blue in the Back Estate area and also Lucille. I'm not sure how it's going down with Blue in as much as, you know, we cannot hear her voice. But I want to say blessed Sunday afternoon to her. Yes.
Yeah. But Marceline, let me give you the opportunity to open up the conversation, as it were, Marceline, on the first Sunday of Civic Vibes programming.
You're letting me open up, Lofty. Well, thank you, Lofty. As I said, it's a brand new day and a brand new year that the Lord has made. And I spoke about being positive and creative in it. And, you know, I must say, I am impressed to see the number of persons who have turned out on the live. From what I can see, we have 119 people who are here with us this afternoon to make this conversation about country successful. And I say thank you to all the patrons, all the people who have tuned in via Facebook Live. And that is true to the saying, when the going gets rough, the tough gets going. And in today's day, it's social media, messaging through social media is is popular. It's successful because it is so powerful. It is so effective. And I am glad we came together and embraced this opportunity where we can have our first program for the year 2022 on Civic Vibes Live. So this in itself is creativity on its own. It's a privilege to be part of this program, the Civic Vibes, where I can assist and continue the mission and will help continue the mission on the Civic Vibes in promoting civic mindedness among our Dominican people and to be part of the discussion on the issues affecting my motherland, Dominica. Today is the second day of 2022. And one would be curious to ask or curious to know, why are we here making trouble? As some of our critics would say. Our critics and those comfortable with the status quo and the way things are in Dominica, they would be quite busy to ask, why aren't we in a celebration mode? Why are we making trouble, quote unquote? Well, my response to that is to be drunk and celebrating is equal to the Titanic sinking while dancing and everything else is going on. We cannot sing and dance and celebrate to our death, the death of our country, the death of our people. And that's the reason we are here today. We are here to talk on those issues. One of the main issues we are here to talk about is our democracy through electoral reform. And as I would say, and we know that most countries in the world that have a robust economy and a well-functioning democracy, countries like Switzerland, Japan, USA, Canada, these countries have robust economies and their citizens are doing well. But I must say, any country where there is a threat to democracy, where democracy is a sham, like Russia and China, their citizens do not do well. Their citizens are stymied by poverty, unemployment, and lack of healthcare. And that's the reason why electoral reform is so important. Because we have our democracy to preserve. We have to preserve our democracy, which is the first leading step to democracy. And that is why electoral reform is the first leading step to democracy. And that is why we have to do everything to get electoral reform in order to preserve our democracy. We have to do everything that we can. And it has to be the number one issue on all of the resistance mind. In all of their organization or our organization, in all of our efforts, the messaging is a preservation of our democracy. And even when we come together, when there is a protest, the messaging should be on one unified subject, electoral reform. I rest, Lofty.
All right, and thank you for resting it there just a while. Let me acknowledge as well, we are also having this program being streamed live as well on 2 other social media platforms, and the names are Push Past 10. So those of you who know Dr. Simone Matthew, she does an excellent job here as well in terms of interviewing Dominicans by and large. So we are also sharing what we are saying here this afternoon. She has given us permission to use her Push Past 10 social media platform and also DA Rose. So we are on these 2 platforms of Dr. Matthew Simone. So again, I want to acknowledge her and acknowledge a kindness in that regard so that that message can be pushed even further. Also, to maybe sometimes in the not too distant future, I'll be trying my very best, or rather we will be trying our very best to hook up with Dr. Matthew here, because she has a very interesting initiative where during the carnival season that is coming up in Dominica, she recognized and realized the need for persons in the musical or entertainment industry in Dominica to make some extra needed cash. And she came up with a brilliant idea. And so we'll be talking to her maybe sometime in the not too distant future so that she can further expound on that opportunity that through her medium, through a social media platform, that she's giving persons in Dominica that avenue so that they can make that much needed extra cash, because we know COVID basically dealt a blow to the world and by extension Dominica, and more so our persons in the musical industry. They took a serious blow from COVID and is still taking that blow. So Dr. Matthew, we will be trying to hook up with her sometime in the not too distant future so that she can just give you guys an idea of that bright and innovative idea that she came up with and how you guys can continue to support her and Dominica musicians by extension. Let me as well tell our folks, we can also be, apart from the Facebook Live that you're looking on now, this program is aired as well on our YouTube channel, that is Civic Vibes YouTube channel. We can be found as well on Instagram, Twitter, and also podcasts. Every program is recorded and it is placed on our podcast as well, so that wherever you get your podcast from, then you can just go there and in your own time and convenience, listen to everything and that was said and done here on Civic Vibes. Also, we have our own website now. Civic Vibes is pleased to announce its own website. So those of you interested in visiting our website, it can be found rather on civicvibes.com. Again, I repeat, the Civic Vibes website, it is civicvibes.com. Just go there and see what we're about, see what our intention is, not just for the now, but for the future. So without further ado, let me just move over now to Paula so that she can as well give an opening salvo on maybe the topic on electoral reform that Maslin just spoke about a while ago.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lofty, and thank you very much, Mrs. Edwards. I also believe that electoral reform, this should be our #1 set goal for 2022. And as we were coming to the end of 2021, Lofty and I actually already had the plan for electoral reform, and this is to do directly with cleaning up the voters list. So we are talking about going up there, meeting with the people one-on-one, getting on the ground and cleaning of the voters list. And we are asking each and every Dominican to assist us in doing just that. Because there is no way, shape or form that we as Dominicans, a democratic country, should allow ourselves to go to another election without, one, voters ID card, cleaning up the voters list, because what we've seen year and time again is a bloated list and the stealing of our elections here in Dominica in broad daylight. And the lists have been bloated for a very long time. There are dead persons who are still on the list. There are persons who have lived overseas for a number of years who are still on this list. And according to law, that they say that these voters, as long as their names are on the voters list, they are allowed to vote. We are saying for this year, 2022, this is one of our set goals. And we are asking each and every Dominican, when we get out there in the communities, to assist us in doing just that. Yeah, Lofty?
All right, thank you very much, Paula. Let me just as well give Dominicans a heads up as well. as to something, a very unfortunate situation that happened, I think last evening it was. Dominica, yes, your country, it recorded its very first, I am seeing here, it is still under investigation, but a gentleman was found dead on the Goodwill Highway, and murder is suspected at this time. So Dominica, yes, is opening the year not on a very good note, where the continuing of things that we don't want to see in Dominica happened last night, where a young man was found lying in a pool of blood on the Goodwill Highway, and he was pronounced dead by the medical people here. The police, they are investigating what, you know, may have caused or who may have caused those injuries to this young man. So to his friends, his families, his loved ones at this time, we at Civic Vibes, we sympathize with you guys at this time. But again, the situation of lawlessness in Dominica, rampant lawlessness continues, and we as citizens, we must step up to the plate, as it were, and be prepared to do something about it. Marceline, I know you have plenty to say, so you can continue where you stopped off a while ago. May and Paula will chime in to see if we can follow you as you continue on here.
On the subject of electoral reform, we are staying on the subject of electoral reform because this is the only gateway to our democracy in Dominica. When you look at the Caribbean, look at the Caribbean islands, the OECS, look at the countries. Look at the countries, the islands that are doing well: St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Barbados to an extension. They all had some form of electoral reform. Anywhere that the people get to choose their own governance, that there is no threat to it, there is no corruption, there is no treating and bribing, there is no manipulation of the vote, there is no manipulation of the political message and dissemination. Anywhere democracy can thrive, or anywhere democracy thrives, the people generally do well. The opposition needs to have access, or opposing messages, opposing dissenting voices need to have access to all media, DBS, Kyrie FM, not just they having access to our media, to our stations, so that they can come and manipulate and corrupt our own message. But we need access to their media as well, so that the entire messaging can reach everyone, so that people can make a fully informed choice in choosing their representatives and governance. Secondly, employment is also part of the package when we talk about democracy. And employment, creating employment is also key when there's electoral reform. When there's electoral reform, you have a working government and a government that works right across the board, because that government knows if it does not perform like what we have in Dominica, where it performs only for a certain few, only a certain few gets jobs, only a certain few gets the benefits. Then if we had electoral reform in Dominica, this could not have been. So secondly, let's look at employment. We have a country with a government at its helm that has made it their mission and their duty in every action and every step of the way, every step they have taken to impoverish the people of Dominica, the Dominican people. And that's all that's happening in Dominica. Nothing else is happening in Dominica. When you look at the areas that is booming in Dominica, I want to ask, what institutions are booming in Dominica? Which areas are booming in Dominica? The only area that's booming in Dominica is the funeral homes. The funeral homes are the only area that's booming. It's the only thriving industry in Dominica is the funeral homes. And that is within our local business market. Now, when you look at it, who is dying? The poor people of Dominica who cannot afford to medevac. The premature babies, the newborns, 1 month olds, 9 months old. Those are who dying in Dominica. Over the past year, do we know how many babies died in Dominica? How many babies were buried by the funeral homes in Dominica? Why aren't they publishing that data to the people? It is sickening to know that over the past year in Dominica, over more than 30 babies were buried in Dominica. And people, that is a fact. This is not any make-up story, you know. We have the highest infant mortality rate probably in the world in Dominica. And no one is talking about that. At some point, I think it was sometime last year, or was it in 2020 or 2021, when it was addressed, the babies had stopped dying in Dominica. So it's back up. It's back up. Lofty, you just spoke about the crime. The year has just opened and we already have a first murder in Dominica. Now, this is alarming because that is where our society has descended to, because there are no jobs. There's nothing for them to do. There's nothing for them to do. So that is why they are engaging in all sorts of criminal activities. So this is where we have to stick on the message of electoral reform and all of what comes secondary to electoral reform, which is actually, it makes the message complete, like jobs for our people, employment. There's just nothing to do in Dominica for the young people. Nothing to do at all. So we are going to stick on that message so that it can reach everyone, where we will come together and keep on electoral reform until we get electoral reform. Because when you look at it, there is no independent industry in Dominica. There is no independent institution in Dominica. There is no commerce in Dominica. There is nothing but passport sales. Passport sales that they want to polish in the House of Assembly by telling us it's not passport sales, it's a CBI program. That is the same CBI program that is all over the world. Well, America's CBI program is not done in the way it is done in Dominica. What they are doing in Dominica is selling passports. That is not a CBI program. And are we going to be just satisfied that our passport sales are the only revenues in Dominica, revenue stream in Dominica? And at the end of the year, they are satisfied to come to us, come to Dominicans, and set up this fake Christmas, whatever they call it at the Bayfront, on the gling Christmas lights, and a fickle banner that all is glowing, all is nice and dandy, so that Dominicans can come there once a year to sell bakes and accra, like Dominicans were born with their heads tied up. That is not development, that is not employment. The NEP program has been the main source of government's employment for our graduates from school. So our young people now need the qualifications of CXC subjects to cut grass and plant flowers. Cut grass and plant flowers on the roadside.
Marceline, may I interject there? Well, just before you go to the NEP program, let us just sort of exhaust in the entirety the whole idea of that much needed freer and fairer framework for elections in Dominica. Marceline Edwards, the listening public, Paula is here, Civic Vibes, your team here, we are pledging our work in that department, where we will continue to work for you guys out there to ensure that Dominica, yes, your country of birth, some of you your country of naturalization, some of you the country that you just so love so much because of its natural beauty. We are pledging that we will continue to fight for you, where your vote in the elections to come will not be a farce, as it were. It will not be a mockery for you to stand up in a long line, hours upon hours, take hot sun, rain, whatever it is, all the climatic conditions. And at the end of the exercise, that vote of yours would mean nothing, because a government that has been installed in Dominica for over 20 years keeps manipulating a very archaic system that needs revamping. And so we are pledging our support to you today, the very first Sunday in 2022, that team, we will do what we have to do. We will go in the trenches. We will continue to be in the trenches, to go into the communities, go under the mango trees like this afternoon, go in the bars, go in the restaurants, go on the highways and the byways, even on the seashore as well, to ensure that every man, boy, woman, and girl in this country gets the factual message or information about the need for free and fair elections. On top of that as well, Civic Vibes has started since last year some discussions with the Jamaica Electoral Commission. You have heard a number of persons, from the chairman to, other committee members at the Jamaica Electoral Commission. They have pledged their support again this year to continue to work with us in Dominica, just to bring that message out there so that we in Dominica could have a much better idea as to what it means when we say about free and fair elections. So on behalf of us here at Civic Vibes, and to the many of you watching, we want to thank the folks, the fine folks as well, from the Jamaica Electoral Commission. They have pledged their support to be on board with us again this year, to just continue to pong that message, continue to pong it, so that the powers that be in Dominica will muster the political will to ensure that Dominicans realize a freer and fairer electoral process. That is all we are saying. And as I said before, it has been a long and winding road, but Dominicans, let us not lose hope. Let us not be fearful. Let us not be sidetracked as the work that is needed to make this little gem called Dominica a much better place where election is concerned. General election, by-election. We had a by-election in Grand Bay, what? November it was? Yes. And it was basically going over the same thing over and over. You have a very bloated list. You have no way of identifying yourself when you come to vote. And it is just absurd. And that is one thing. We all in Dominica, all of us who are patriotic at heart, must come together and make that call in a unified voice this year, that we are not going into 2023 without some form of freer and fairer electoral process. We have to do it, Dominicans. We can do it, and I already pledged that we, that Civic Vibes team, we will lead the way, as it were, We will help other organizations come on board. We will help other parties come on board and basically just be that sticking glue. If it's one thing we Dominicans have to be united on this time around, is the need for our elections to be much freer and fairer. So I just say I would plug in those words, Marceline, before we had jumped into the NEP, which I know you want to say something. But Paula might want to say something now on the aspect of electoral reform before we move on.
Yes, and Lofty, you have said it right, because 2021, we already had something in place where we could go on the ground and meet with the people and start cleaning the voters list. And we are saying again, we need the support of you, the people out there, because we believe we've been talking for a very long time, but we believe we need to put our talk into action. And this is the reason why we are going to go on the ground. And like Lofty have said, it could be alongside the seashore, under the mango tree, under a coconut tree, in the bars, by the side of the road. We are going to go out there 2022, and we are going to make things happen. Because we've seen what happened time and time again in Dominica here. We've seen persons, like I said before, who have lived overseas for a number of years. These people they do not even know the way to some of their family homes, because these people have left Dominica 20, 30 years. And then when an election is called, these people, tickets are paid for. Monies are given to them to come to Dominica to vote, to install a government on the backs of the people who've been living here and who knows what their struggles and everything is like. And we are saying, come 2022, we are going to go out there. We are going to meet with the people one-on-one. We are coming with these forms where we are going to clean this voters list, and we need you, the Dominican people out there, to assist us, because it's only by doing this that we believe that Dominica will have some form of a change of government. And there was one gentleman last week, Sunday, who made a very important point. And he went on to say that when we go out there, if we could actually have this information placed on polls in communities and all over the country, where persons will see why for so long we have not had electoral reform, cleaning up the voters list and voters ID card. Because remember this famous statement by Mr. Anthony Astafans, and this gentleman said he's willing to contribute so we can have this printing and place out there. And we are saying, we believe enough is enough, and we believe we have to do something about cleaning the voters list. And this is the turn that we are going to take. 2022 is here, and we call on each and every Dominican to assist us in doing just that.
Yes, just before we return to you, Marceline, let me just give the listeners an idea of how long we'll be here for tonight. We'll be going up to our regular time, 6 o'clock. It is already 4:45. So Paula, thank you very much for your input a while ago. Let me just shout out and big up some persons on the live. A lot of persons, they are there with us, and so it is always important to pay them some attention as well. We have Viva Mamo and some others listening and looking on. Good afternoon to you guys. We have Mr. Earl Bruno, says it's coming on nicely, meaning the program is coming on nicely. Earl, good afternoon to you. We have Mr. Bernard Aline. He's up and is listening to the program. Bernard Aline wrote, the government now has agents in Iran, Turkey, Iraq, Kurdistan, and more. Just imagine the numbers of citizenship that will be sold in these countries. Dominica will be over in and Dominicans in their own country. Christine Nicholas as well is saying, Facebook and not radio. She's asking a question. She says, it can be done. Yes, she is on board. Christine Nicholas is saying she's on board with the whole vibes, right? That is happening right. Another comment just before I move to you, Marceline, Mr. Mr. Bernard Allen again. Yes. Oh, we have some other comments coming in here from Adelaide Joseph. Adelaide Joseph is saying, out for donkey years, then freeloading a ticket to come to Dominica. That is just evil. Gertrude Abraham Dejean, she too is listening, and she's saying, Lofty, I am listening. Good afternoon to you as well, Gertrude, and thanks for tuning in here. Again, Marcelin, let me just move back across to you so that we can continue in the same vein that you left off.
Thank you, Lofty. Are you hearing me, Lofty?
I'm hearing you perfect. We're hearing you perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, I just want to touch on what Paula said just in her little contribution. All of what Paula said could only happen due to the fact that Roosevelt's carrot has disabled the economic structure and the financial capacity of Dominicans. He knew what he was doing when he made Dominicans poor. He took away their economic power because he knew this is how he was going to advance his dictatorial tendencies on Dominicans, like eviscerating the democracy by not giving Dominicans electoral reform. Look, he spoke about the country could not have afforded electoral reform at the time. And I'm not sure if you'll remember when Francine Barron and Vince Henderson were in Washington, D.C., selling the idea that Dominica could not have electoral reform at the time. And that was prior to last election. That was sometime in 2019. Dominica could not have had elections to go into an election, 2019 election, with a clean voters list. But he could have found Dominica's $450,000 to give to Justice Byron so that he could place his knees on the neck of our electoral reform in Dominica. And if we do not get up, if we do not take this thing seriously, if we do not remain united on the message of electoral reform, I see another election being slipped under our noses, just like the election the quick election that was called in Barbados. I see something like that happening in Dominica. I see Justice Byron submitting something right before elections, something that is not going to appeal to the Dominican people. And if there is some pushback on it, they'll say, well, oh, okay, we submitted the information from Justice Byron. Dominicans are the ones who did not accept it. And then they will be in full throttle with another election on Dominicans, bringing in the votes from the diaspora, bringing in their chartered flights from the diaspora. Thousands of people coming in from the diaspora who knows nothing about Dominicans and their hardships, who have no interest in the Dominican people. And he knows the Dominican people cannot fight back because they do not have any form of financial capacity. So that is why he disabled Dominicans by keeping them unemployed, by outsourcing our jobs. And this is what has happened to the Dominican people, that they can't talk loud. They are afraid to speak up because things are so bad and so hard. The little they are getting, if they speak up, they might lose it. So they prefer to suffer in silence. Now, if Dominica had electoral reform, that could not have been because he knows he would perform for the Dominican people. He knows if he goes into the elections and he continues on that path, on the current way it is more of the same. But if Dominica gets electoral reform, he would not be able to do what he's doing there. So yes, so employment is a major aspect of our democracy. Because when you are independent, you can make independent decisions. Who feeds you? There's a saying that goes, who feeds you controls you. If you feed yourself, if you're an independent person, there's no way anyone can come from the outside and control you. And this is what Dominicans need to get: financial electoral reform, so that they can have a financial independence. Because the only thing in Dominica right now is the NEP program, which is not cutting it for our young people. Because if you don't have a red labor shirt on you, you can't get to cut grass on the roadside for a few pittance. Look at what the government is doing with our resources. It is spending, it is expending so much. I am not sure what the tab is on that is paid to foreign universities on our students who are out studying. When the students are finished studying, they can't even go back to Dominica to make a contribution to Dominica. They can't go back because there's nothing there. There's no industry that make you an independent person that can create a middle class, where Dominicans can make their own money and become independent of a government handout. There is none.
Yeah,
they have destroyed every single opportunity. Dominica used to be a vibrant little country. Roosevelt Skerrit took it over, and it has become something else, something unrecognizable. We can't even recognize what Dominica is right now. Young people graduate from school and there's nothing to do. They go to the US, they study, they can't go back, as I said, to Dominica to contribute to its development.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is there to contribute? There's nothing to do. There's no industry to develop. There's no ideas to work on. There's absolutely nothing. We have zero industry in Dominica. And all this is due to the fact that we do not have electoral reform. The next subject I want to touch on, the next area I want to touch on is our healthcare. But Lofty, I will pause here to let you make your contribution.
Okay. Just before you go to the healthcare, it's what, 7 minutes, 8 minutes rather, to 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, we're going to take a little entertainment break, as it were, give our voices a little break. But just to drive home that point of Dominica is in dire need for free and fair elections, let me let you guys now listen to, I believe, the man who is sitting in this government for the longest stint, in the name of, let me give him his handle this afternoon, Honorable Reginald Austrie. Here is Reginald Austrie saying this afternoon that when he was praising, as it were, the wife of the Prime Minister, that is Melissa Skerrit, or the man who sits in the Prime Minister chair, that is Melissa Skerrit, on her move on the Bayfront. He basically said, some of us in Dominica, we are sort of archaic in our actions, in our thinking as well. And here is this quote unquote bright spark in Melissa, kind of trying to modernize things, as it were. So I say that to say, and I will let you guys hear Austrie in his voice in just a while, making the case for us in Dominica to be more modern in our thinking. But that is when it suits him. That is when it suits them. We have been talking about free and fair elections for a very long time now. And we know, and they know, that that system, 40-something years plus, it is very, very archaic. It is old. It needs some sort of renewing, as it were. But Austria will not see the need to urge his government colleagues to come together in conjunction with the people now to modernize our electoral machinery in Dominica. And I guess I wonder why. So on one breath, he's saying that we should modernize certain aspects of Dominica's situation, especially our thinking and some of our actions. But here it is. In that same breath, he's remaining silent on a thing that now minister with him, Vince Henderson, said that we don't need to clean up the list. We don't need free and fair elections in Dominica. So Dominicans, if we want to sit on our laurels and think that these guys are going to give us anything, they are not going to give us. They are not prepared to give us. We have seen them in action. And it is us in Dominica to decide what we want as the governees and to basically force their hand in that department. And we know forcing their hand will take some action. Let me let you guys listen now to Reginald Austri on his take on how Dominicans sometimes think in very archaic ways. And we'll continue the conversation in a bit.
The country. And I would be surprised if very soon you will find people organizing this, call it quote-unquote village Christmas activities, which would mirror what the Palo Rosso Central is doing in Roseau. And I really, really want to compliment her. She's done it with the promenade, because of a serious transformation. This small business, people making money, and there's activity. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has put a sort of brakes on the full forward movements. But we're hoping that as soon as we get out of the COVID situation, I will continue to look for great things from Melissa. So she's very creative. She has class. She's thinking outside of the box. I think that is what we need in this country. We do archaic, thinking. We keep going back to what it was 25 years and when Lipla was there and when Isilo Black was there. We keep going back and we don't seem to be moving forward while the rest of the world is moving forward. And that can be tied into the discussion we're having on the mornings that the government gave to this.
Okay, Marcelin, you got a good snapshot, right?
Yes, I did.
Good. I hope the listeners and viewers themselves, they heard. Here is Mr. Austri saying to Dominicans, we are too archaic in our thinking. But that is when he was seeing it fit to praise Melissa for having what I am saying now is a COVID spreader on the Bayfront. He was praising her for that, saying that she's new blood. She's bringing vibrancy to the city. She's fresh. She's thinking forward. But that same Reginald Austri and his cabal of ministers will sit by and say nothing as it pertains to modernization, as it were, where our elections are concerned. And Dominicans, we cannot just sit by anymore. The time has passed, if you ask me, to do something about it. And finally, we are all waiting on Dennis. Well, let me rephrase that. Some Dominicans are waiting on Dennis Byron for a report. Yours truly, I'm not. What I am urging Dominicans to do, whenever that report comes out from Dennis Byron, which I'm hearing now from the grapevine, is sometime in January, late January. The people of Dominica needs to have their own report, as it were, or their own ideas, put it on paper as to what we need in Dominica for free and fair elections. So whatever Byron brings to the table, that is fine. We can sift through it as a people. Whatever is working for us or working in our interests, we put it on board. Whatever is not working in our interests, we cast it aside. But what we should be ready to do is to have in our hands like a working document to say to the government / the Electoral Commission, hey guys, we know you got your report from Byron, but here is the people's recommendation. And if they are not prepared to implement these recommendations from the people now, then that is where the people now should be jolted into action. And I am saying this afternoon to be in protest mode. Let this country be in a protest mode, and let this the government cannot function for some time unless and until they implement what the people want. Because this report of Byron, I'm telling you, Maslin, I'm telling you, Paula, this report of Byron, it is delayed once, and I know for sure some of the things that Byron may recommend may not be in our interest. And this government, we have seen their how you call it, we have seen their propensity for twisting our laws, for making laws suit their purpose. It was that same government in 2017 that went before Parliament and basically tried to make bribery and treating legal. So we have seen them on a road, and on that trajectory, it is not the right course for us in Dominica. So I am saying we should have our own form of our own set of recommendations so that we can come as a people and say, we read Byron report, we're in agreement with A, B, C, but we are not in agreement with D, E, F. And look is what we, the people, we are putting in your lap. We want you to implement, go to Parliament, do whatever you have to do, but that is the people's report. That is what the people we are satisfied with to make our life a much better life in Dominica where elections is concerned. And unless we can wrap our heads around that, then we'll just be spinning in mud. It is what, 5 o'clock already? Yes, 5 o'clock. We're gonna take a break in just a while, but let me move across to Paula on that note.
Yeah, thank you, Lofty. Let me just add a few words to what you just said. Dominicans, here and abroad, those of you viewing this afternoon, you all should remember our $500,000 that was given to Byron, and up to this day, nothing has been done. And like Lofty rightly said, we should demand of what we want. We should be in a protest mood. And this is the reason why I said last Sunday, Dominicans, this is a year 2022 of action. This is an action year. And we should put all our talking into action. And we have to demand what we want. We have to say to the people at the electoral office, the electoral commission, look, this is what that have to be done. You cannot and should not change the laws of Dominica. It's in our books, and we have to demand what we want. And until we do this, I'm saying we are living and will continue to live in a failed state. But I'm saying 2022, the year of action, I believe we are going to get things done. Yeah, Lofty.
Sure. All right, Maslin, just before you come back with the health aspect of it, we're going to take a little musical interlude, as it were, but spare me the permission to just touch on some of our persons who are there with us on the live. We have already reached 1,500 and counting persons. They are basically taking in the information. Wow. And for the start this afternoon, I want to congratulate you, Maslin, and I want to congratulate Paula, because you guys are neatly and nicely dressed. So I want to think that is some of what the persons are looking on at this afternoon. Yeah, Z
from Paula.
Z Lloyd is on. And a lot of other persons are on the live. Let me just see if I could get to some of the names. Augustine Sabruch, you are on. Jane Bernard, I mentioned your name already. Let me just go back up here before we take Augustine Sabruch. Yeah, let me just put down that volume here before I cause some feedback. Marshall Lawrence is saying here, unregulated campaign finance spending, one of the biggest hurdles. I guess that is his contribution on the electoral reform talk. Marvella Defoe is saying that she's watching from Guadeloupe. Marvella Dupu, good afternoon to you in a very special way. For Diana Carbon, saying good afternoon as well. Shari Bryant, you are there, saying good afternoon as well. Gina Castle, that's my friend in Portsmouth in the north. Gina, good afternoon to you. I will, in the interest of time, I'll not go through some of these comments because they are plentiful, but just Marina Charles, you are there as well. So good afternoon to all of you folks who are already glued and you are there with us. Miss Yasef Francis is saying big up and bless up. Florence Batilia Joseph Dover saying big up and bless up as well. Madonna John Baptist, you're there. Billy Anthony, Mr. David Joseph, you're there as well. He's another usual suspect. Virilia Bruno, good afternoon to you. So the more than the 100 persons that are actually watching, it's our pleasure to have you on board this afternoon. So Marcelin, let's take a little break at this time. We're going to take a little musical break. We'll be back in just a bit.
When the going get tough, I said the tough get going. My people, don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide like a knife from the beginning. A lot of youths in life say them can't take the pressure no more. But from your trust in the most high life, I go get better, I'm sure. The youth juggle on the roadside, Babylon, so we take up your bag and wait. Why? No more to still not give up, me so we solid as a rock like Palante. Not give up, I said there ain't no giving in.
Yes, Dominica, we are not giving up the struggle. We are not giving up the fight, and that is a fact, huh? So we are on and continue. The work continues, Dominica.
Teacher not get paid, the government needs the purge and process. Police not get paid, so them find it hard to serve and protect. And all we get from the government is highlight bits and robust taxes. And them still a pressure the youth to run it hard on the road, building robot taxes. But there ain't no giving in. Why on a taxi you? Hey, I said the tough gets going.
Madonna John Baptist, she's saying here on the live, great educational program. I'm with you guys. Stephanie John Baptist is listening and watching as well. Dory Drago is tuned in from North Carolina, USA, saying enough respect. Eliza Lewis, you're watching as well. Didi Easter is saying something here. Let me see if I could open up Didi's Easter's message. Didi Easter is saying Dominica ranks 51st out of 192 countries for which statistics are available, indicating that Dominica is one of the countries in the world with a relatively high level of infant mortality rate. That is the situation Marcelin was pointing out earlier. Brian Joseph is saying Wago. So Brian, good afternoon to you as well. Claudette Shillingford, you're there. Merlin Alfred Macpherson, she's logging in as well. Good afternoon. Joan Farrell, you're there for us, keeping us company. Charlene Warrington is writing. Guada is in the house. Happy New Year to all. And the list goes on and on and on. Dominica Freedom, that is someone who is on Facebook and always writes as well. Final comment here, so kind of long, but I'll read it in earnesty and I'll move back to Marcelin here. Dominica Freedom says, when Dominica get a new government, that is when the new years will start. See our Christmas activities and our Christmas season. And Dominica did not even have spending power for the Christmas. This man get money to relieve people through the COVID-19. This man hold all the money. That is what this person is saying. And he still did not give it to them for the Christmas season. I believe Dominica do not have, oh, well, that Christmas is saying he believed that Dominica don't have any COVID, but I guess that is your belief. Let me just jot down to his latter part of his comment here. He says, and them man will use that strategy just for a failed economy, and they will let Dominicans believe like it's because of COVID-19. So Dominica Freedom is firing on all cylinders there this afternoon. Carol Bruni is watching. Romana St. Rose is watching as well. Jamie Bruno, you're on, and Jillian McCall. Let me just move back in the interest of time here to our co-host here, Maslin Edwards, to continue on a very informative and instructive program of Civic Vibes this afternoon. Yes, Maslin.
Thank you, Loftus. I know you had this injection of what's his name? This guy in Dominica.
Which one?
The minister, Reginald Austri.
Reginald Austri, yes.
But I choose not to elaborate on this guy, because this is beneath any form of, it is beneath the intelligent discussion we are having this afternoon. And as I firmly believe, those injections are distractions. So I will not waste my time to elaborate on such stupidity.
It's your call. Thank you.
Yeah. So the third thing, that is where that is, that has the lack of electoral reform has affected in Dominica, and it is part of all democracy, is the people's health. If you do not have good health, then you cannot be resilient. You have no wealth, because your health is your wealth. And if you have no wealth and you're not resilient, then you can't stand up for anything. So I will touch on healthcare. Dominica used to have the best primary healthcare in the Caribbean. We now have a situation where we can't save a life from the most basic trauma. People are dying from the most basic things. We can't treat and prevent anything with the type of healthcare we have in Dominica. We have people in our healthcare system who don't understand us. They don't even look like us, but we expect them to deliver the best kind of care to us. How is that going to happen? We have doctors, our qualified indigenous Dominican doctors, who are refused employment. They can't even go near the hospital to perform surgeries or any other thing, even if they have their private practice in Dominica. No, those are things that just never used to be. And we have another situation where we have Dominican doctors abroad who are trauma surgeons. Some of them had the different units at the hospitals where they work. And some of those doctors, they are willing to lend their expertise in helping to reform our healthcare system, where our people can get better medical care and competent diagnosis. And the government of Dominica, what passes for government, is waging a political war with these people, with those professionals. So they are cut off from offering free, high quality care to our people. While we continue to have the highest cancer rates in the entire world per capita, Out of 192 countries in the world, Dominica is leading with the highest cancer rate. Now, don't forget, this is a place, a country where we brag. Is the nature island of the world, where we have access to fresh fruits falling off the trees every summer, wasting, rotting, squandering, where we have access to the ocean and, and the rivers, even if they're trying their best to pollute every one of our rivers, where Dominicans could pluck fresh fish every day. We have the highest cancer rate in the world per capita. Now, that is alarming. That is an alarming threat to the healthcare of our people and our future. It is on preserving our democracy. We are going to have an economy where the Dominican people will be given priority over foreigners. A government that is responsible for making lives better for our people and improving our healthcare system. All these things are related. They are not disconnected. So the first thing on the agenda, on our agenda in 2022, is preserving our democracy. And that's the reason electoral reform should be number one, because once we have the ability to freely choose, once we can freely choose the people who govern us or govern Dominicans, that governing of the island will be in a safer place, because we will choose the people who can deliver on the economy. We will choose the people who can deliver on healthcare. And if they don't deliver, we will put someone else who can deliver, and we will hold them responsible by the vote. But we have to preserve our democracy. We have to make electoral reform the most important subject on top of the agenda of the resistance. Every word, every speech, every organization, every protest action, every civic group should be surrounded on the message of electoral reform. Nothing else should take priority. So they can come with all their distractions, like the one you just played, Lofty. They can come with all their distractions, including the distractions on the other side. We have to galvanize, we should galvanize our focus. No more distractions, no more. No more distractions. Because we need to remove Skerrit, since he has not worked to the best interest of the Dominican people and our country. And we shouldn't be ashamed. We should never be ashamed to say we need to remove Skerrit from the helm of our country. We should not be afraid to say he needs to be removed. Because he needs to be removed, period. And if he continues to stand in the way of electoral reform by stalling the process of electoral reform, and because Justice Byron, we all can see and we all can now agree that Justice Byron was placed there as a stall tactics on the most needed process of reform in Dominica.
Basley, let me just add to what you say. Can you remember on the eve of the election, Roosevelt Skerrit being under tremendous pressure by a number of groups and a number of persons really wanted to see electoral reform before the last election? Did you remember Roosevelt saying to Dominicans on one of his political campaign speeches that in the first 100 days, there will be some kind of movement, positive movement that is towards reform. And added to that, in the first year, he promised the people some kind of meaningful aspect of reforms. We are 2 years and counting now and nothing. So I want to agree with you, yes. To me, Byron was placed there as a stalling tactic, and it's we, the Dominican public, to ensure that that stalling tactic in 2022 is no more. Simple put.
You want me to continue?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Well, those of us who have eyes and who have a functioning brain knows a stall tactic when we see it. And whatever Roosevelt Skerrit said, by now we know this man modus operandi. That man will say anything, but we know that he is liar in chief. So he will say anything. Nothing Roosevelt Skerrit says is credible. I don't repeat things that Roosevelt Skerrit say, because we know that he's just talking from one corner of his mouth and blowing something else from the other corner and whistling down the middle. Nothing that man says, one can take, you can't take it to the bank. He said so many things before. Do you know how many universities that were coming to replace Ross University when Ross University left Dominica? How many of them did you see there come back? Look at the number of lies this man told Dominicans. Everything he says is a lie. The man goes into parliament and he lies inside of parliament. You would want to think that the parliament is a noble place and where the laws, where laws are made and our constitution is upheld. What does he do in parliament? Every opportunity he gets there is just to lie. He's not a credible person. He can't help himself. The man is an uncircumcised man. The man is he just can't help himself. That is part of him. He's just like that. So, but it's left to Dominicans to let him understand that we are no longer accepting that type of behavior. Because when we go to the polls to vote, it is supposed to be free and fair. We are supposed to elect a government of our choice. And a government placed on the backs of Dominicans cannot reflect any form of democracy. It is not democracy when a government is being placed on your neck, on your backs. It is a democracy when you can go through an election and you know the result of the election are going to reflect your intention, what you really wanted, what your mind and your heart and your brain said by your vote. And that's the reason this man does not have to work for the Dominican people, because he knows that his votes are not in Dominica. So he can treat the Dominican people any old how. And on the day of election, within 3 hours, or almost immediately, then the results are out and he has won. That is a sham behavior, sham results. So this is why we should stay on topic. This is why I am recommending today that the main discussion from today going forward is electoral reform.
And that is why, Marceline, we basically at Civic Vibes want to lead the way in that department. And that is why we choose to open the year on this Sunday after the holiday to have a bang start head on.
Yes, because if there is no electoral reform, if this man continues to stand in the way of electoral reform, it means we will not be able to remove him by the vote, which is the only democratic process. So if he's not going to heed to our democratic rights to choose the electing of our own governance, then we have to remove him by other means. We have to remove him by other means, and I am serious. Because this is for the Dominican people. This is action for we the people. We cannot be begging our servants that we put in the house to work for us, who have now become the slave master and have turned his employers the slaves. It does not work like that. We have to let this man understand that we are his boss. Why do you think at election time, they come to the people begging for a vote? They will give out all sorts of handouts. They will give galvanize. They will give the country's money. They will give houses. They will give all sorts of things. They will trade all sorts of things for that vote. If they were in control, if they were the boss, they would not have to be literally begging and ripping off the country's resources dry in order to make bribes for them to be back in the house, for them to get a vote. We are their boss. We are their bosses. And we have to let them understand that we, the people, are in control. We have to let them understand that they need to be afraid, that there need to be some level of fear of the people. Because when a people are afraid of its governance, this is what you call tyranny. That's what you get. You get tyranny. But when the government is afraid of the people get justice.
True, yes. And on that note, Marceline, thank you very, very much here. On that note, Didi Easter again is saying, I'm going back to some of the comments here. Didi Easter is saying, which basically sums up what you said very well here. 2022 must be all about organizing and planning to remove Skerrit and his regime from office. No more talking. That is what Didi Easter is representing here this afternoon. We have some other comments coming here. Fifth Sunshine is saying, compulsive liar. Peter Zavi, a dictator never keeps his promise. We have more comments coming in here. Earl Bruno is writing here, the message we have to send out is we're taking responsibility of our reform. Mr. Bernard Allen is writing here, when we look at the amount of countries in which our citizenship is being sold and the number of agents who are involved, and in tandem with this, we get abuse from some of the agents. We are, when we ask, legitimate questions. Yes, legitimate question, while others remain quiet, while making big money, it is time for Dominicans to make the comparison between their situation and that of the agents so as to stand up and demand that they get a piece of the pie. And talking about piece of the pie, before I let Paula chime in here, an organization called NJAM in Dominica that stands for the National Joint Action Movement. There was a relaunching as it were yesterday. And I want to congratulate all the members of NJAM, of that organization. I am the PRO for now. And so I want to ask everybody in Dominica, those who are hearing, those who are listening to this program here this afternoon, let us find out much more about that revamped or renewed NJAM, as it were. That is an organization in Dominica, an NGO that is to coalesce our forces, to bring people together, to bring forces together, especially in the opposition circles, as it were, people who are opposed to that level of tyranny and high-handedness that is going on in Dominica. That is what NJAM is all about. And so we are just asking for your support. Everything and anything is on the table where our country is concerned. And NJAM as an organization will do whatever is necessary at the time to ensure that Dominica, whatever is left of it, is salvaged. I just plug that in on behalf of NJAM here this afternoon. Paula, you can chime in here. It is 5:20 already. We have another 40 minutes before we bring our program to a wrap.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Edwards. A dictator, he dictates to the people what they have to do. And we have Roosevelt as the head of what is posing as a government in Dominica, with 18 of his ministers who will sit there and say absolutely nothing. Only a dictator does and say the things that this man who heads his cabal is doing in Dominica. When you listen to the utterances of Roosevelt, the things that he said, the things that he do, and his ministers, not one of them can speak out, because if they do, they will be sanctioned by him. I'm saying we, the people of Dominica, the strong-minded persons here, those of you who believe in truth and believe what we have to do, I'm saying 2022, this electoral commission, the people are not working in the interest of Dominicans. They are not working in the interest of the people who need the electoral process. And we are saying it's for that reason we should take it. Dennis Byron, $500,000. And Dennis Byron is playing the games that he knows that Roosevelt wants him to play. So what do we expect? He's not going to do anything in the interest of the Dominican people. And that's why I, for one, have never supported Dennis Byron doing any work on the behalf of the people of Dominica. Dennis Byron, I have called time and time again that he should return our $500,000 to the Treasury of Dominica, because he's actually doing his work, the work that Roosevelt wants him to do, and not the work that the Dominican people wants him to do. And this is the reason why 2022, we should do everything in our power to have electoral process done. And we should take the things that we need, do the necessary things, and stop begging. Like you rightly said, Mr. Edwards, that we put the people there to work for us. And what are they doing? It's like we are begging them. I'm saying 2022, no more of this begging. All of this is done. It's a done deal of the begging. It's we the people now to take what that we need. And we know exactly what we need. No more elections in Dominica without electoral process. Absolutely none. And we are saying, like Mr. Durand just said, the NJAM, this organization, we are expecting them to work with the persons who are interested in having electoral process done here in Dominica. Thank you.
Too much confusion. Frustration. Yeah. I don't wanna live prisoners must be free, yeah. Never make a politician grant you a favor. They will always want to touch you forever. Yeah. So if a fire make it burn, and if a blood make it run, yeah. Rasta the phantom, can't you see? So you can't predict the flow. Yeah. Got the lightning, thunder, brimstone.
Yeah. Basil, it seems as if Bob Marley had the solution a long time ago, huh?
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Because
Brother Zed Lloyd, you are enjoying the vibes. Good afternoon to you, my brother Zed Lloyd on the live this afternoon. Clyde Gregoire is there as well. Good afternoon. Paul Patterson is there. Paul Patterson is writing, we should have electoral reform in no more than the first quarter of 2022 by at least March 31st, no later. Together with NJAM and others, we should be ready to take action to ensure that the people get what they want. Basically, that is what our brother here is saying in a nutshell. Let me see if I could get a couple more posts here. Paul Patterson again is asking here the question, can you focus on the residency requirement, Mr. Patterson, in a subsequent program? We will look into that for you and others as well. But Maslin, it seems as if persons out there, they're enjoying the conversation. And as we continue, we have like 25 more minutes to go.
I have a few more points. Yes.
Time that we kind of, bring the conversation together as it were. So let me give you the first knock at that. We have 25 more minutes.
Since the Prime Minister of Dominica, the illegitimate Prime Minister of Dominica, has no desire to work or to acquaint himself with truth and honesty on the deep issues affecting Dominica, nor the real issues, the real suffering of the Dominican people, let alone to legitimately care. We have to find a way to remove this guy at the helm of the country. He cannot sit at the helm of a country and not give Dominicans, not heed to the call of electoral reform that Dominicans have been clamoring for so many years. And this man has just decided that he is not budging. His knees on the neck of electoral reform. Well, you know what? We, the people, should break off that knee. We should break it off. Because this electoral reform is not a political subject. This is not politics. This is a subject of national issue. This is a subject of democracy. Because this is the only gateway to democracy, is when you can freely go to the polls and choose a government, and you expect that whatever where your vote went, you are going to get the good results. Because look at what is happening. We have no separation of powers in Dominica. So it is very easy for those cohorts to steal the elections cycle after cycle, like they have been doing. The only thing that is going to prevent that, that is going to disallow the stealing of the elections in Dominica, is electoral reform. We have to drill that in our heads. We have to drill it in the minds of the people. We have to take it to the highways, to the subways, to the ghettos. We have to take it in every nook and cranny of the island. We have to be to go where the young people are, even on the block. Sit with the guys on the block, the young people on the block, and let electoral reform be the spliff they smoke. Let it be the ganja, the spliff they smoke. How many ounces did I give them? Wrap it into the weed. Let them smoke it, because this is what is needed. This is what is going to bring democracy in the island.
So massively, we're giving them 28 ounces or grams of weed of electoral reform.
Yes, put it in the spliff. Let them smoke it. Because after this is done, they will not only just want the 28 grams of marijuana to smoke to keep them hype and happy. You know what they will want? They will want an industry where they can manufacture marijuana for medical purposes. They will want more than that, because they deserve more than that. They deserve to be employed. No longer can our young people just be, astray with no form of employment. What are they going to retire to? Do we have an infirmary in Dominica to put all of those young people who have nothing to save up, nothing for their retirement? They have not worked anywhere, most of them. They have not paid anything into Social Security. They do not have a pension plan anywhere. How are they going to retire? What are they going to do when they get old? So how many $300 would they be able to get? Can anyone live on $300? 300 EC dollars? For the full 30 days of the month? Can anyone live on that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they talk about bringing in votes from the diaspora. And they talk about rights, and they talk about legitimate interest in Dominica. The diasporans who are going home to elect that kind of dictator on the backs of Dominicans, where Dominicans are dying like flies in the China Friendship Mock Hospital. When they go in by the heads, when they walk in, they go out by the 2 feet, tied with a white cloth and covered. There's a situation where you hear of Dominicans doing well to recovery. 1 minute they were doing so fine and hoping to go home. And then the following day you get in a call, your loved one has passed. Come and get your loved one because your loved one has passed. How is that possible? What level of care are these people getting? Is it because they have all those newly graduated doctors, Nigerian doctors from the university, Dominica, this university that are without any form of supervision by experienced doctors? Those doctors who went to All Saints University, who don't have the experience and who need to be under the supervision of experience and older doctors in the business. So 1 minute you have the patient doing very well, and then the next minute the patient just gone. And then the autopsy results, the results of the autopsies on those dead bodies, it's like, are they credible? Who is the pathologist in Dominica? Who? Sometimes you have to ask ourselves, we have to start asking ourselves, is that criminal practice? Is it negligence? Is it malpractice? What is it? Why is it? Those of us who watch the funerals on MO News and we see it's just young people dying, young people in the 20, well, you have 7-year-olds, you have 19-year-olds, 20 years, 30, 40, 50. People are not even dying 60 and above anymore. It's just young people dying. So we have a situation where our young babies are dying out. So these young babies, they are not going to grow up into adults to grow the population. Then we have another situation where the young people in the prime of their income generating years who are dying out as well. So then you have nothing generated in the economy from that sector, that section of young people. And then you have our elderly who are dying out. So then all the knowledge and the legacy of our island is leaving. They're leaving us. And soon we will have an empty country replaced by Chinese. And what is it? Is there a plan to get rid of indigenous Dominicans in order to make way for all the thousands of CBI, well, I won't even say CBI because there's no investment in Dominica. What are they investing in Dominica? What form of employment are they creating in Dominica? So all these people, our passports are sold to. Is there a plan in place to clear the way for these people? So when you get rid of our indigenous Dominicans, then Dominicans will be overtaken by foreigners and we won't even be able to recognize our country. There won't be any form of legacy because look at our historical landmarks are being taken down. There's no respect for anything like that anymore, just because we decide to choose a group of people, a group of lunatics who do not have the country at heart, who came in to make themselves millionaires while the masses suffer. Dominica is going down in poverty, in mendicancy, in decadence, in everything negative. And we can go home to elect more of the same, to put these people, keep them on the backs of Dominicans when there's nothing going for Dominicans, no healthcare, nothing. Within the 10 minutes, within the 10 minutes, it's like a 10 minutes time frame from where I live to where the hospitals are. There are how many hospitals? About 4 hospitals I can go to in the event I have an emergency, in the event I don't feel well. But we have hospitals in Dominica that operate like a shell. So the function of the hospitals is not even there. The hospital are disemboweled. People are dying. Our people are dying. Our people are dying through lack of health care, lack of financial capacity. They cannot jump on a plane or get out. If they have a real emergency, you have to have a name and a title and money, and you have to be supporting the government for you to get out of Dominica, just for basic things. That's the reason why we have to bring our country back to a state of good health, where our wealth will be preserved and our financial status will improve, and we can only do that with electoral reform. We cannot achieve it otherwise. Electoral reform now, electoral reform yesterday, electoral reform tomorrow, electoral reform in the next few months. But we have to cap this thing. We have to put a deadline as to when we should get answers. Because if we keep saying that we want electoral reform and give them to do their own sweet, give them to take their own sweet time, next year, if we live to see 2023, we will be back here on the same topic, talking about electoral reform. And before you know it, it will be time for another election in Dominica. And by then, we're going to understand that we are really going to get Dimitri, eh? Because if we fail to give ourselves electoral reform now, then it's not going to happen in the future. We have to take it now. All the talk and all the distractions need to be over. This 2022 is the deadline. We should not go beyond 2022 without electoral reform. So,
thank you. Thank you very much, Marceline.
Yes.
2022 is supposed to be the deciding year as to what headway we make where electoral reform is concerned. Before I move on to Paula here for her closing comments, as it will, we are like 8 minutes away. I'll come back to you, Marceline, for at least 2 minutes for your closing comments. I just want to acknowledge some people here that are still on the live with us. Mr. Bryant Joseph, he said if I can punch a song here for him this afternoon, we should be going to do in just a while, talking about the spirit that is needed as we move forward, that warrior spirit. Thank you very much. We'll see if we can adopt that as our theme song, as he suggested, as we move along. Also, the folks, I just want to, advise us that this thing that we're doing here this afternoon in terms of our debut, it will get better. We will be looking into, kind of upgrading ourselves, as it were, and the gadgets that we need to kind of bring that message to you in a much more crystal clear form. So, it's a work in progress where that is concerned. Also, I want to alert our viewers and listeners as well that Civic Vibes has already made some headway where our conversations will be streamed live via some radio stations in the region. So those of you in the region listening, we will be breaking that news to you very, very soon after some discussions and some agreement whereby Civic Vibes will be streamed live on some other radio stations in the region. So we are looking into that as well. And as Marceline, Paula, and all of you, you are on the live, keep saying that action is needed on our part, even more so this year. So what we want to pledge to you is that Civic Vibes will play its part in conjunction with other groups, other organizations, political parties, individuals, whatever it is, to help bring that much needed reform we dire need in Dominica. But everything, folks, everything needs finance to basically push it. And that is where we are asking you to support the work that we will be undertaking in Dominica 2022 and beyond. We have our Civic Vibes Facebook page for those of you who want to contribute financially to our cause or to the cause of Dominica. Please go to Civic Vibes Facebook page or just ask Paula or myself, Marceline, always on board, to send you that link so that you can go to our PayPal page and donate some much needed funds. Because bear in mind, when we hit the streets, most likely in February, we'll be needing petrol, we'll be needing, paperwork's done, we'll be needing whatever we have to do to get that message done. You know, so everything, there comes a level of finance to execute, and we know with your help out there, it was done already, and it can continue to be done in that form, in that fashion. So that is that special appeal to folks, you know, you generous folks out there, to help keep the work alive by not just talking, but putting your money where your mouth is, as it were, and helping out in that regard as well. I just want to tell us finally as well that one of our commentators made a comment, and he said that if we could look into getting a lawyer from the Concerned Lawyers Group in Dominica, maybe sometime to come on the program to give some further clarification as to what we're talking about. That came from Mr. Anthony Drago. We'll be looking into that, sir, to get one of these lawyers in Dominica to come and, you know, just aid in the process by giving some, you know, sharper legal aspects to the much talked about electoral reform. So without further ado, let's take a little break now, play that song from Tarrus Riley. It's entitled Shaka Zulu Picnic. Maslin, you know that phrase very well, right? Picnic.
Of course, no. Yeah, man.
Tarrus Riley is going to sing for us Shaka Zulu Picnic. Let's take a little of that.
Picky nigga.
And then we come back for our closing comments here. Let's take a little listen. We'll be back in just a bit.
Family, ancestors no leave me. Now you're Benji, Bobo Shanti. This blood of African kings run in my vein. Here in Jamaica, rebellious offspring. We've got a warrior spirit inside. From that time, we can't change. And this warrior spirit inside, it come from birth every shackle and chain. Man a Shaka Zulu, Bindi, and Kuma, Bindi, Kunta Kinte, Bindi. Just like Malcolm and Martin and Marcus and Fiery.
So the Shaka Zulu spirit is what we're trying to employ here as we move forward, talking about all our ancestors and the strides that they made to get us where we are today. And so that is the spirit, yes, Mr. Brian, that is the spirit that we all need to employ as we move forward. Folks, it is 4 minutes towards that time. We don't want to keep you past 6 o'clock for sure. We at Civic Vibes, we're a stickler for time. And so let me move across now to Paula Celestine so that she can make a closing comments, move across to Maslin for closing comments, and then I will just pull it together in like 30 seconds and bring it to a wrap. Paula.
Yes, Lofty. Let me touch on this quite quick in the interest of time. Mr. Sedward spoke about the healthcare system here. The saddest thing about it is the persons who go to the hospital, and most of them actually, like you rightly said, they walk in and they comes out by their 2 feet wrapped in some white cloth, something of that sort. It's unfortunate that these people have to pass away in these kind of conditions, whereas the ministers and their families and those with big names, they are sent overseas for medical. They spend months and weeks over there. And who is paying for this medical? It's our taxpayers' money. So it's very much unfortunate that we live in a state like this. On another note, if the head is rot, the entire body will be rot. The head who we have in this country, who is passing or posing as a government, along with 18 other ministers, the head is rot. So we do not expect anything better. We have one problem in Dominica, and the problem is the head who governs this country is rotten. And I remember a few years ago, it was Eugenia Charles who said, remove the United Workers' Party by any means necessary. And I'm saying 2022, we have to remove those that are rotten by any means necessary. And I'm saying when we go out there again, we are calling on you, the citizens of Dominica, to assist us in cleaning the voters list. So once again, to all of our viewers this afternoon, those that stayed locked in with us, first time I've seen so much of that, Lofty. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for staying tuned with us. Those that are close and those that are far, thank you for making this afternoon what it really is. Thank you once again. And thank you, Marceline.
All right, Marceline, 2 minutes and we got to bring it to a wrap.
Yes, I will say that Skerrit has no desire to work to acquaint himself with truth and honesty on the deep issues affecting Dominica, as well as the real suffering of the Dominican people, let alone to legitimately care. No other prime minister has ever been disdainful of humanity and indifference to facts and untroubled by his benightedness to evil, vindictiveness, hate, and failures. And if we continue to keep this guy in office, it is going to lead to a national catastrophe. So just the mere thought of it, the prospect of keeping this guy in office, it runs a chill down my spine. It does. And we have come to the place where we have to do anything necessary to get this guy out from our office, from the office of the prime minister in Dominica, because he has only brought disgrace to that office. And the only way we can do it is through electoral reform. We can accomplish it, we can achieve it, if we think it, if we live it, if we breathe it, and if we dream it. We have to act, and we can get it if we really want. But we have to try. We have to try and try until we succeed, and we will succeed in this year, 2022. May God bless all of our Dominican people. May God bless our listeners. May God bless you, Loftus and Paula. And I pray that we can continue on the same vein of thoughts, on the same trend, and the same steadfastness until we realize electoral reform in Dominica, because it is the right thing to have for a country where our democratic rights, the people's democratic rights, can be respected.
Yeah.
And this is where Dominica needs to be. We need to bring back our democracy alive, because right now our democracy is dying. Our democracy is teetering on the verge of death. We have to take it back through electoral reform. So once again, Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you, Dominicans. May God bless you. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Marceline. I want to say thank you very much. You made us proud this afternoon. You made Dominicans proud. Thank you very much for your very inspiring words, motivating words this afternoon. I want to compliment you for that. Paula, good old Paula. I always thank Paula publicly for always making time to come and educate. And I just want to leave a final thought with us. What's his name? The Haile Selassie, the Rastafarian leader. He once said, and I quote, "It only takes a spark to get a fire going. Never underestimate the power of your spark." That is what I want to leave with us Dominicans this afternoon. The work may be hard, the work may be plentiful, But if each and every one of us playing our part, that work, that load can be made much lighter to the benefit and
Amen.
beneficial of Dominica and Dominicans. So long till we meet next time, next Sunday, same time, same place, same platform. See you guys. All our folks that are listening and watching, we love you very, very much. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you.